Testing, testing. Okay, give me one moment. Let me make sure everything's working and post the link to our Discord chat. Give me 1 second. Actually, I probably need more than 1 second. I also need to make sure the audio is working. Okay, so here's the link. Live stream session. If you're watching the replay, like go ahead and skip probably like 5 minutes because I'll be doing some introduction and also housekeeping. So, wait, hold on. Okay, I can hear myself fine. Great. Okay, so let's see. Today is day 4 of our free 10-day Beginners Chinese Bootcamp, where I'll teach you 10 basic, not basic, some of them do get complicated, but 10 phrases that will help you lay a solid foundation to start your Mandarin journey. And so let me go ahead and share my computer screen. Screen sharing. Is it this one? Yes. Okay, and if you're not able to comment on YouTube, you can use our Discord chat. I'll be monitoring the one that says day 4. It says day 4, teaching and practice. And we'll have our group practice session at 11 Arizona time. And that's one of the topics I will cover shortly. Hold on. Is it sharing my screen yet? There might be delay, by the way. Okay, looks like we're good. Okay, so let's see. Sound check, we're good. And welcome. I already introduced that 10-day event, and this is day 4. If this is your first time watching this video and it's day 4 or maybe day 5, day 7, it's not too late to join. I will have all the teaching sessions up until the end of October, so you'll be able to watch for free before end of October. And also, if you submit any homework, I'll be checking them. So anything that's before the end of October, I'll be able to check if you just send me the audio file, and then I'll provide feedback. Okay, so let's see, time zone. Okay, here's the problem. For some reason, Google is not giving me the correct answer. So if I type in current MST time, it's not giving me the right time. So if you are trying to figure out the time, then look up look up Arizona time. That will be the most accurate one. Okay, Terry says live transmission broadcasting. Good, awesome. Thank you for checking in. And then, so how do I interact? YouTube chat box if you're on YouTube. If you're not able to, use our Discord chat. I already posted a link there, and our Discord is free to join, by the way. The only thing is I am making it a little bit more difficult in the sense that you will need to submit. You need to request to join because I want to be able to know where you're from and then just to know a little bit about you so I can make sure that our Discord is a safe environment for all our learners. Okay, so group practice session happens at 11 and you can check this. The easiest one you can check is probably Duolingo. I cannot post all my sessions there because sometimes I want to be using my personal link. So let me load this up and you probably will see this differently. So right here, you will see something different, but you should be able to see info page. That's what time I'm streaming, as in what time I'll be teaching. And then after that, usually it's like 1 hour after that, we'll have our group practice session. And then same thing here. That's our, I don't remember which day, day 7, October 7th, teaching session. And then right after that, we have a group practice session. And then October 10th, 11th. Now, if you are part of our Discord group, I'm thinking of creating a smaller group session and preferably in like the evening, because I've noticed that 12 a.m. for some people, 10 a.m., 11 a.m. for some people, it's like 3 a.m. over there, over where they are. If it's 3 a.m., I want them to sleep. I don't want them to come to a practice session. So I will try to find a time that works better for them. So that it's an event that I can only post in Discord. I cannot post that on Duolingo because I'll be using my personal meeting link. Okay, so back to this one. Now, last time we covered okay, we cover our first 3 basic sentences. We have 你好, you good, and that's how we say hello. So 你好, literally, it means you good. And that means hello. And we said that hello is that one thing that we might use like for the first time. And then after that, we're like, we don't really say hi anymore. We just cut into chase, like say, what are you doing? Are you busy? Just like get right into the topic. Then we have 我叫陈丽丽. Literally, this means I call Chen Lili. So as in, my name is Chen Lili. And here we said that Chen is our last name, but we say our last name first, then we say our first name, Chen Lili. So that's a format. 我叫. Okay. Then we have 我是中国人. I be Chinese. Okay, let's break that apart. I be China person. And that's the really cool part about Chinese. It's where we have the country name, just attach 人 to it, you have that nationality. Okay, then now today we are going to learn, hold on 1 second. Where did I put it? I have too many tabs open. So, okay, so our first sentence is 我住在not 法国 sorry 我住在德国 我住在德国 Now if you are in oh hi 你好 Mount Gilead apologize if I mispronounce your name 你好我是中国人对对对对没错非常好非常好 Very good Okay so we have 我住在德国 If you are in our chat tell me or try to guess what does 德国 mean? It's actually not that close to the country name. I do know one word in 德国. I mean in 德语, not in 德国. It's called what is it? Guten Morgen, something like that, and that means good morning in that language. Don't quote me on that. I might be mispronouncing it. And sorry if my teacher friends watching this. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Okay, but hey, you know, because when you're learning, or if you're not learning, you're trying to say things, it's 100% normal that your pronunciation might not be accurate. It takes time to practice. So just be kind to yourself. There are days you're gonna be, hey, I'm nailing every single sound. And then there are days where you're like, how do I say this accurately again? Or maybe the way how you hear it in your head, it just sounds right. But when other people hear it, like doesn't sound right. 我住在德国 yes yes 对对对没错 Mount Gilead 对对对很好对德国好 so 德国 is let's see Germany okay 好的 so that's 德国我住在德国 we're gonna break that apart okay 我住在德国好 let's see 我 we already know what 我 is I 住 is to live. 好的，等一下 where is it? Okay, losing my tab again. Okay, yeah. 德国, Terry says 德国 equal Germany. Yes, 德国 is the character that means country. So 德, I believe there is a region, there is a story how the word came from, but do I know it? No, I don't. So but I'll research this and see if I can find something. If I do, I'll share that to our Discord group. So 我住在德国. 国 is the one character you definitely want to know when you want to talk about different countries. Because not a lot, some, I guess. Some words, country names, they end in 国 and some don't. 中国 ends in 国. 美国 ends in 国, 德国 ends in 国. So there are quite a lot that do end in 国. Mount Gilead is saying 我住在日本人. That okay, let me get back to that. You add one extra character to it. If we do 人, then it becomes a person. 好的，那我们来看一下首国。我住在德国。好，住 it's the actual verb to means to live, and 在 it's in or at. 好 so together we have I live in at, and then 德国 the country name 德国 Germany. Okie dokie. Now, so that's our first one. Now, of course, if you don't live in Germany, you will want to replace that with your country name. So first thing, try to look out the name. Use using a dictionary or use Google Translator. I do use Google Translator. So sometimes it's accurate, sometimes it's not. And then bring that to our group session. If it's incorrect, I will help you correct it. So that's our first one. 我住在德国. Our next sentence is, now if you have any questions, go ahead and post in the chat, and then I'll come back to it once I finish out the teaching part. Unless it's like relate to it, then I will definitely cover it right away. Okay, second one. Now, second one's a really, really cool one. I've been saying that a lot, actually. Okay, so we're going to introduce a character called Ma. And Ma turns our statement into a question. That's all we need. Everything else is going to stay the same. We can turn it into a question by just attaching Ma at the end of our sentence. So we have 你，等一下。Okay. So instead of 我, I change that to 你, because it would be weird to ask myself, hey, where do I live? Do I live in Germany? I don't know. So we're going to switch 我 out to 你. Now we have 你住在德国. Now before we add that ma, let's look at 你住在德国. 你住在德国. So instead of 我, we have 你, and that's saying, I'm going to give you a second so that you can look at it. Okay, 你住在德国, so you live in Germany. Okay, so that is a statement. We're not questioning anyone, anything. So here, 你住在德国. Then we can add our ma at the end of it. So that one way to think of what ma means is you live in Germany, right? So you can associate ma with right. And that is that's one of the ways to ask a question. 好，那好, so that's the second part. So we had 我是中国人. So if I add a ma, okay, let's switch that to 你. 你是中国人. So when we have 你是中国人, that's our statement. That's you are Chinese, as in person. Then if we add that ma, that turns that into a question. 等一下, did I write it down? Okay, so here that's how we say, do you live in German? See how in English you add a do in front of it. In Chinese, you just add a ma at the end of your sentence. Everything else stays the same as our statement. So 你是中国人. By adding ma, we turn that into a question. Now we have, are you Chinese? Or like I said, you can just translate that as you are Chinese, right? That will be one way to ask a question. So that's the second one. And now we have 德国, right? So 德国, if you want we want, what's it called? German. If you want German, then it will be the country name, press our 人. So we'll have 德国人. And voila, now we have German as in the nationality, 德国人. Okay, so now we can ask our question, are you German? Or think of it as, you are German. Make your statement and then attach the ma. So think you are German, right? That'll be the way to, one of the ways. So what I like to do is I want you to learn in a way that is your style. So if you feel like, okay, I prefer to think of it in, are you German? I prefer to think this way, then go for that. And if any of one of like the suggestions, like if it helps, then try that. Okay, 好，然后呢 we have 你是德国人吗? Now we have our sentence. Are you German? That is our second one. So ma is really handy. That is one of the common ways to ask a question, but that's assuming that you have some kind of statement before that, like you like dogs, right? You like cats, right? So something, you make some kind of statement and then you add ma at the end of it. 好，然后呢 we have, let me see if we have any questions. Okay, 好，那好 let's see. Mount Gilead. So if we say 我住在日本人, now there is a mistake there. You will need to remove 人 at the end. Okay, so let's see. Give me 1 second. Thank you for posting that sentence in our chat. Oh, hold on, what's going on here? My Google spreadsheet is not working for some reason. 我住在日本了. Let's see. Okay, so once we add that 人, we end up getting, so this, I'm going to put X right here. That means there's a mistake there, but it's very good for us to learn. So we're going to take a look. 我住在日本. Now, 日本, it is, okay, let's see. 日本? I think that's how you say Japanese. Terry, correct me if I'm wrong. I heard you saying it. I think that's how you said it. So that's Japan. And then if we add our 人, we end up with Japanese, the person. So I cannot say I live in Japanese person. It's really weird. It doesn't make any sense, right? So we're going to remove our 人, then we will have a perfect sentence. 我住在日本. 我住在日本. With our second concept, how do we turn that into a question to ask, do you live in Japan? So we just add our character 吗? 你住在日本吗? 你住在日本吗? And voila, now we have our question just by adding 吗 at the end. So that is our second concept for this session. Okay, next we have, let's see, Mount Gilead also brought out other country words, so we'll go ahead and list that. We have, so 德国, 中国, 日本, Taiwan. That's awesome, but you also gave me other names. How many names do you have? 你住在日本. Oh no, you translating that, I think. 成都, 美国. 好, let's list out the other ones. So far we have covered 中国. Okay, let me bring this chat over so you can see. So we have 中国, and then we have 日本, 德国, 美国. Okay, let me bring this back out. Okay, so we have 4 country names we can practice later on when we do our group session. 你住在日本吗? Yes, that's correct. Good job. Okay, dokie. Now that's our second one. We cover that. Okay, third one. Now, third one, we're going to ask another question. But this time, we are not going to use ma, because when we use ma, we have to be making some kind of statement. And sometimes it's probably good not to make any kind of assumption. So we can use our question words. So what are question words? Question words are words like what, where, how, when, and I feel I'm forgetting some. Why? Yes, okay, there you go. I think we have more than enough. Today we are going to focus on where. The sentence I have is, now, let's see. The one thing that's really neat about Chinese structure is we can almost reverse engineer. As in, if we have an answer, we have 我住在德国. Now, 我住在德国. Okay, when we have 我住在德国, the key information is where, as in Germany. 我住在德国. That is our answer. So our question would be something like, 我有很多名词. That's also use one seat that were too full in whatever situation you're in. Cool. But imagine like when you have a lot of names and then you run into like 3 friends at once and they all calling you different names. But anyway, okay, so thank you for sharing that. So back to this one. So back to our lesson. We have 我住在德国. So that 德国is our key answer. That's our location. So when we want to ask question, we're trying to ask where you live. We're going to keep everything the same. First step, keep everything the same. And then replace our answer with our question word. So because this is a location, we're going to replace with where. Now here we're going to use 哪里.哪里.哪里 is where. Okay, so we're going to replace 德国 with 哪里. So after step 2, we're going to end up with 我住在哪里. Now that is a perfect sentence. That is, where do I live? Isn't it? I live where? Hopefully you don't ever need to use that sentence. And then we have, the reason I'm saying that is, I don't know if you watch Korean dramas, like a lot of times, not nowadays, but the older dramas, they will often do something that the main character gets hit by a car and then they lose their memory and they go like, who am I? Where am I? What do I do? So that's why I hope that you don't ever need to use that. Where do I live? So 我住在哪里? Okay, so we'll replace our answer, which is 德国, with our question word 哪里. Now we have 我住在哪里. Now we are trying to ask the other person. So where do you live? So we're going to replace our pronoun, which is our pronoun. Okay, which is 我, I, with you, and that is 你. Okay, so we have 你住在哪里? Now the same concept applies when we have the question with the hold on, what am I saying? Okay, the same thing applies. This procedure, this concept, you can reverse engineer. So we have 你住在哪里? So whenever you are being asked a question, not always, but at least in my class for beginners, at least this trick pretty much works all the time. It's where you can always say something that's grammatically correct just by repeating the question. So, I mean, not the question word. 你住在哪里? You live where? And then the question word is 哪里, right? So you would do the same thing. One, first keep everything the same first. I mean, I guess that's like step 0. You don't really have to do that. Then 2, replace the pronoun. Oh no, we're going to replace our question word, which is 哪里, with our answer. And then 3, change the pronoun from you to I. And now we have a sentence that is going to be correct. 我住在, and then your location name. This works with most of my questions in my class, at least. Okay, so let's see. Mount Gilead gave us a few other pronouns. Awesome, thank you. So we have, oh, wait, hold on. Okay, Mount Gilead, I'm going to ask you a question. 你住在哪里吗? This is a common mistake, so that's fine. I want you to try and see if you can figure out what's wrong with the sentence. There is a mistake here. Can you try to fix it? Okay, so we'll come back to your mistake sentencing a bit. I do want to use your pronouns here as well. Okay, now we have 们. Now 们 makes things plural, but for now we are only going to use it as pronouns. For example, I plus other people. That it's like we. So we have I, it's 我, and then we're going to add 们 to it. So we have 我们. 我们, that's how I say we. Now, if we want to say you guys, then we have you plus other people. And that is how we say you guys. Don't say you plus other people. We have 你, 你们. If you watch and replay, whenever I ask a question, you can pause the video and then try to come up with the answer yourself first before you continue. That way, it's like at least kind of interactive, so you're not just like watching a video and then end up falling asleep. I'm not talking about my real experience. I guess I am. I have done that a few times. Okay, so yes, Mount Gilead, very good. So that is a common mistake because I mentioned earlier. So this is a sentence we have here from Mount Gilead. We have 你住在哪里吗? And like I said, be kind to yourself whenever you make mistakes. It's always good to make mistakes when you are learning, so that when you go out, then, it'll be, at least there's not as high of a chance of making mistakes because you made all your mistakes during our practice sessions or during our class or while you're learning. Now, even if you do end up making mistakes in real life, it's okay. Everyone makes mistakes. I make mistakes all the times. hopefully that I don't make ones I regret. But anyway, back to this, we have 你住在哪里吗? Now this one is a common one because I just taught you that add ma to turn a statement into a sentence, to turn a statement into a question. So that's where like students like, let me just put ma everywhere. But no, that only applies to statement. 你住在哪里? 哪里 already has a question word. That's why when we have a question word, we don't need to add ma anymore. So you kind of like have to pick, how do I want to ask this question? Do I want to ask, do you live in, do you live in Germany as a question? Or do I want to ask, where do you live? So that is where you get to decide, do I want to use 哪里 or do I want to use ma? So pick one of the ways to ask questions. So ways to ask questions in Chinese. We have one, use ma. It turns a statement into a question. Two, use question words like where, how, why. And here, be careful. Don't add ma to it because we already have a question word. That's another way to ask that. Mount Gilly saying, 对，没有妈 that's correct, very good. 大熊猫住在成都 very good, yes, yes. And then 住在厨房 I guess you could if that's where you live. 我饿了，好的，好了。If you're hungry, go grab something and make something. 好的，好，然后呢 we have hold on, what? 学汉字 I'm kind of confused. Where do you live? Are you even what? I'm confused. Can you clarify your questions, please? Sorry about that. I don't get that. Okay, I'm confused about that one. Once you clarify it, we'll come back to it. So here, there's X next to it. So whenever you see an X next to it, that means it's incorrect. Either, yes, I do use that as incorrect. So make sure don't study that. But if you are someone who prefers to learn like what are some common mistakes so I can avoid them, then it's good. Otherwise, you can just skip those parts when you go to our notes and then just look at the other ones. Okay, let's see. Terry has response one, 德国 equal to Germany. Yes, that's correct. Response number two, R2. I like how you abbreviated that. Awesome. 你是日本吗? 好，那好, let's see. I love that you're using characters. 好, Terry, here's a little tip for you. Let me see. 1 second. Let me make sure I covered everything. One more concept, and then I will go to your sentence, okay? You're trying to make... Xiaohai was trying to make a joke saying, where do you live? Are you even alive? So that's funny. That's hilarious. So now I got it. The double question kind of makes it seem like, is this a ghost maybe? Speaking of ghosts, I do have something that I saw earlier, but let me come back to you. 学汉语 sorry. 学汉字, I'll come back to you. Okay, so let me cover one more concept and then I'll get to your guys' questions and comments. So, 哪里? Now, I am from the south, but when you teach, according to standard textbooks, we do have to teach Like what I mean by it's that 化音. We call this 化音. That's the name. I just translate that as sound. Now, this by itself, we do have all the usages for Like I mentioned last time in our day. Now, like when was that? That was day 1. So in our first teaching session, when you are learning Chinese as a beginner, and also the way how I teach, I don't want to like overwhelm you with like a list of everything you will ever encounter. That is too overwhelming and that would scare myself away. So I don't want to scare you away like that. And what I like to do is I like to take things one step at a time. When you run into this problem, we'll learn it, we'll fix it. I mean, we'll learn it and then fix it if we need to. And then it's like slowly we build one block at a time. Okay, so with 儿化音, now here we're going to look at it as the ending sound with certain words. For example, we have our 哪里. It's one way that you will hear Southerners will use that. Am I spelling that correctly? Google document, are you checking that? I'm assuming it's correct. Sorry if it's Is it correct? Yes, it is. Sorry. You know, when you are streaming, you get nervous and then you stop typing things that just that don't that look funny. Okay, so Southerners use that. So as in you also hear if you go to Taiwan, go to Hong Kong, and then overseas speakers. Now overseas is a mix. I can only tell you based on where I lived. I lived in Brooklyn, New York. So that is where we're going to hear a lot of languages. And I have well, I lived there for like 6 years. I never heard anyone say nar. That might just because of the region. How so? Nali is one way to say where, and then we have nar. Nar is here's the thing, nar with the ending. Now we have two characters for that. However, when you are actually pronouncing this, you are going to kind of blending a little bit, so it sounds like nar as opposed to na So we don't say na we say nar. Now by we I mean Northerners say that. And then also in standard Chinese, you're going to hear some sounds. Northerners, now I am only speaking for my experience. What I know is Northerners tend to have more sounds than standard Chinese. Standard Chinese has some. Southerners just no sound at all. So it depends on where you live and how you want to learn it. I'm not going to quote unquote correct you because I want you to learn the way that works for you. And that, for example, if you live in Taiwan, I have no reason of making you say nar because Taiwanese don't say nar. So I think, hold on, yes, they don't. They also use traditional characters. So that's where you want to learn traditional characters rather than simplified characters. Okay, so what is it? So all the examples you might hear is 一点, a little bit, versus 一点儿. Those are the common ones you will encounter. Now, I do definitely want you to, I know it can be frustrating when you say, okay, there are so many different ways to say one thing, but also look at it this way. It's really cool and interesting that different regions have different ways of saying things. It just makes the language more alive, more fun, I guess. So that's one way that I would like you to look at it. So we have 一点, 一点儿, 等一下, here we're also using it as a little bit. Okay, so that's that. So pick one that you like. You can always switch whenever you want. The one thing that I don't recommend is trying to say half of your sentence with the sound and then half without. That's almost like say half of your sentence in American English and then half of your sentence in British English. Unless that is just your way of speaking, then go for it. Do whatever makes you happy. My personal recommendation is pick one, and then you know that that's the one that I'm going to speak. And then you might hear someone else speaking something else. Okay, so let's see. I think those are all the key points that I'm covering. We have for our practice session that's happening in 25 minutes, and I'm posting the meeting link in our Discord chat. Or if you go to Duolingo, it is, which one is it? It's this one. And then if you register, the reason why I cannot post a meeting link right away because oh wait, hold on, it does let me post a meeting link right away. Okay, it doesn't let me copy this. Okay, I don't want to click on it because then it's gonna start the meeting room. So once I go into the meeting room, I'll be pasting the meeting link in our Discord chat, so you'll be able to find it there. Okay, so now we have, and that is where we have our group practice session, and that is where I would do minimal talking. I would like to hear you speak, so you be speaking Chinese in our session. Okay, so let's review everything we covered. Just a really quick listing out the sentences, so I know that what I'm going to cover in a bit when we go out to our review session. So I already forgot what I taught. Hold on. Okay, first one. 我住在德国。我住在德国。Followed by 你住在德国吗？你住在德国吗？ Then we have our question word. So the second one is using ma to make a question, and the last one is using question word 哪里. Or if you prefer the r sound, then you can say 你住在哪儿? And that one, let's see, we do have another one, 你住哪儿? That might be a more common one, more natural, just conversationally. Okay, but they're both correct though. So those are our 3 key sentences for today. Now, if you attend our first teaching session, then I'd love to have you to include the ones we covered before. And that, sorry, I have to go up to see what did I teach? Right here. 你好，我叫陈丽丽，我是中国人。Let's see. 你好，我叫陈. Of course, unless your name is 陈丽丽, you will want to replace that with your name. 我是中国人. Okay. So let's see. So those are the 6 sentences. So what I'm gonna do when we have our group practice session is, if you went to the first session, I'd love to have you say everything here. So you'll be saying at least 6 sentences. And then if you're new, then my goal for you is to simply practice in this one. That reminds me, someone in our last group meeting, I'm going to give that person a different name to protect his, I just gave his gender away. I will give him a different name to protect his privacy. So I was gonna name him Emily, but I just say he. So let's say that person is Jack. Okay, so Jack said that I cannot speak. Now, at first I thought he meant his microphone was not working. So I was like, okay, then I'm sorry you won't be able to stay because I don't want to interact. But then when I 2 days later, that was 2 days or 1 day later, I guess the next day I was like, wait, maybe he meant that he doesn't know how to speak Chinese. I was like, oh man, that has a really long delayed reaction. So Jack, if you are watching this, I hope that you're coming back. If you're watching this, if you meant like your microphone's not working, then okay, sorry, I'm afraid you had to leave. But if you meant that I cannot speak Chinese, then what I want you to do is, if you never study Pinyin, that's fine. That's fine. You can still come to our session because you'll be able to see my screen. I still want you to try to say the sentence. It might sound something really weird, really off, but it's okay because you haven't learned it yet. And what we do in our sessions, I will guide you through that. Either I or other learners will help you with your pronunciation. So if you meant that you don't speak a word in Chinese, it's okay. Just try your best to say it, and then we'll work on it during our session, okay? So that's for Jack. Okay, now let me come back to Xiahanzi, thank you for correcting your characters. For a second, I was like, that's ambitious. With the word that you used. Let me see, is that the right one? Yes, because the other character you chose, you mean like you want to control that country. So that's, oh no, I don't live in Germany. Hold on, is it Germany or German? Germany. I don't live in Germany. That's just my example because I've been meeting people from Germany, so that's cool. I want to include their sentences. Okay, so those are our key points. Now I'm going to go ahead and Q&A and check your comments. Okay, so Terry says, okay, Terry, you have 你是日本人. Okay, oh, 你是日本吗? The character you use, the second one, is not the correct 是. So that's the first one. You want to use this 是. Now, this is where I say it's okay to make mistakes because mistakes are fun. And why? Let's see. 你是日本吗? Here we're asking 你, so we're talking to a person, right? But in your sentence, we don't have the character for person. We need that 人 character for person. 人. Oh, where am I? I am over here. So I need a 人 because right now I don't have 人. So my sentence, your sentence is still perfect, but it's asking, are you Japan? If Japan is a person or Japan can talk, then that'd be a perfect sentence. This is where I say, it's okay, those mistakes are fun. I probably should not have said your name, sorry. Hopefully you're okay with that. So it's fine, so we just need to add 人 and then we'll have the right one. So here's a questionable. Now, and this happens a lot in my classes and I just go with it. So I like, 日本? Am I 日本? So add 人 and it'll be good. 好, so 你是日本人吗? Now I don't know if this is the way how you type, because I think you didn't type this way before. Right now, what I'm seeing on my screen is you are typing it like, okay, I'm gonna fix that and say 你是日本人吗? You have space after every character. That is actually something that not something I do with this, but I do with punctuation marks. Now, if you do this, that is English format where you type spacebar after each character. But in Chinese, we don't have space, no space. So everything's right next to each other. They take out one box. One character takes out one box. So no space in Chinese when you're typing. Okay, and then let's come back to YouTube. Let's see. Okay, let's see. 纽约, yes, that's correct. 吃臭豆腐. 臭豆腐is also something that a few of my students mentioned. 臭豆腐, it's stinky tofu. But you know, the thing is, my nose is not that sensitive, but I am scared of stinky smell. So I have not tried this yet. I bought it twice, 3 times. I don't know how many times I bought it from the supermarket, but I bought them, put them in the fridge. I forget about them. By the time I realized I have them, they expired. So I'm like, nope, not trying it. So maybe next time I try again, because I heard it's good, but I have not tried that. Have you had臭豆腐, Mount Gilead? And then let's see, we have Terry, one last question, and then I'll probably stop in like 2 minutes so I can get ready for our group session. Terry, you have, so we have 笑话. I'm going to give you guys this word, 笑话. I really like this word as well. 笑 is to laugh or to smile, depends on context. And then here we're going to use as to laugh. And then 话 呢, it means speech. But can also translate that as saying and also talk. That's Google Translator's default translation. So speech, words, talk, depends on context. I'm just listing possible translations. So 笑话 is funny words. I guess you could translate that as, or like things that make you laugh. Okay, so Terry has a 笑话. Oh wait, hold on. Let me see if your 笑话 works. 是 你是 right now you have 是 as in event. So we're going back to the character that Terry typed incorrectly. So that it's this 是. We have another 是. This 是 you know 人. So you have the 是, it has a 日 on top of it. And then it has something that looks like a 人. It also has a, let me write it down. 下, I don't think I taught you 下 yet. So it kind of looks like this. When I say 是, hold on, what's the one that I use? It was pretty lame, the joke that I made. My student did not love, but I did. But anyway, so look for the 是 that looks like a 日 on top of it, and then kind of like a 下, and then we have a 人 underneath it. That's our 是, that means to be. Okay, so back to your joke. Let me see if your 笑话 works in Chinese. Where do you live? Alive, alien, earthling. I don't think it works in Chinese. Alive, alien, earthling. I think Terry is responding to who made that joke earlier. Was it Mount Gilead or was that 学汉字? 学汉字. I think Terry is making a response to 学汉字. 没有空间? Mount Gilead, 没有空间 means no space, like physically no space. I see. Sorry, I just remember. Yes, I've seen that before. 没有空间. 好的，那好，我们看一下. That's no space, as in no physical space. But I can see why you're doing that, because our 空, if we pronounce it as a fourth tone, Google is not giving me the right one. Okay, I'm going to use 4 to mark it as fourth tone. 空, that is time. If I say 没空, 我没空, or 我没有空, 我没空, or 我没有空, that is I don't have time. 我没有空. So 空间 is a physical space. So yes, we do have 空 as a different meaning. And that's nope, I'm getting sidetracked. Okay, now with this one, we're one character with multiple pronunciations. I do have one video that is, I think that's Discord only, so you don't see on this YouTube channel. 好的 Okay, so now let me see if I'm missing anything. You're very welcome. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and end our session right here. Remember that in 13 minutes, we will have our group practice session, and that is where you get to speak. I get to hear you speak what we just taught. And like I said, don't worry if your pronunciation's off. That's why I'm here to help. So our session, our group practice session is going to be 45 minutes. 你是 Yes, Terry, you got it. That is the 是 Good job. 很棒，很棒，非常好。See, what was the one that I came up with? The not so funny joke related to 是 something about okay. So that's to be, right? So I think of it as being, as in like human being. And then what was it? Okay, so because we have 日 that means sun. We have 下 that means under. And then we have 人 that means person. So if you are able to walk under the sun, then you are a human being. Is that funny or is it not funny? Sorry. I thought it's funny. Okay, but anyway, so that would be one way to remember that character. 日 that is not the actual story of that character. Well, at least I don't think so. I never looked it up. I just when I see them, and then sometimes we just have fun in our class, so we make up things to help my students remember. So this is one of the concepts. You're able to walk under the sun. You are a human. So 你是 that's the correct 是 对，没错 that's our 是 And let me make it bigger so you can see all the components. 要 sun, under, and our人 Okay, cool. Thank you so much for all stopping by. I will see you in the group practice session if you are coming. And if you have any questions, you can leave me a message, or you can leave me a message. Sorry. Okay, so thank you, Mr. Gillen. Thank you, 小汉子, and thank you, Terry. 好，那我们下次见哦，拜拜。